A 53-year-old woman falls head over heels, believing she struck romantic gold with none other than Hollywood superstar Brad Pitt. But as the story unravels, her dream quickly turns into a nightmare, leading to a shocking and costly scam that leaves everyone questioning how far someone could be blinded by love. Before we go any further, let me know, where in the world are you watching from? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more spine-chilling stories. It all began on a quiet Wednesday evening. The air was cool, the sky outside her window fading into twilight, and she was nestled in her favorite armchair, enjoying the soothing warmth of her evening tea. It was an ordinary night, the kind that slips by without much notice, until her phone buzzed. Ping. With a sigh, she glanced at the screen, expecting a notification from some app or maybe a group chat that had gone rogue with memes. But her breath hitched when she saw the name. Brad Pitt. She blinked, certain her eyes were playing tricks on her. Surely this was some joke, right? But there it was. Brad Pitt. Heart racing. She tapped the notification, and the message unfolded before her. Hey there, hope you're having a great day. Her heart skipped a beat. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of celebrity. Could it really be him? The Brad Pitt she'd seen in countless movies, the man whose face graced magazine covers and whose every move was documented by the paparazzi? Is this real? She muttered, feeling a strange mixture of excitement and disbelief. But the message was polite, charming, and somehow, against all odds, believable. Her mind spun, trying to make sense of it. What if this was just some weird prank? But then again, what if it wasn't? Who wouldn't want to reply, even if just to see what might happen next? With trembling fingers, she typed a quick response, trying to sound casual but not too eager. Hey, thanks. Hope you're having a good one too. Ping. His reply came almost immediately, warm and friendly. I've been a fan of your posts for a while now. You seem like someone who's got their head on straight. She stared at the words, her pulse quickening. Brad Pitt is a fan of me. It sounded absurd, and yet, the tone of his messages, so personable, so effortlessly flattering, was enough to make her push her doubts aside. Maybe he'd seen her Instagram or her blog. Maybe she'd crossed his radar in some random, cosmic way. Who knew? Before she could stop herself, she replied again, this time with a bit more confidence. And just like that, their conversation flowed easily, like two old friends catching up after a long time apart. The next few messages were filled with compliments, little details about his day, and questions about hers. She found herself smiling at the screen, swept up in the attention. Ping. Another message. He was curious about her hobbies, her thoughts on movies, and even her opinion on the latest Hollywood buzz. And she, despite her earlier reservations, found herself responding eagerly, her skepticism shrinking with every text. After all, who wouldn't be flattered by someone like him reaching out? They talked about films, travel, food, anything and everything. Each message from Brad was like another piece of a puzzle she didn't know she was putting together. The conversation felt so natural, as if they'd known each other for years. Soon, their chats became a part of her routine. Every morning, she'd wake up to a new message, a compliment, or an interesting tidbit from him. And each night, as she sipped her tea, they'd talk until her eyes grew heavy, their conversation always leaving her with a lingering sense of excitement. But every so often, in the quiet moments between messages, a tiny voice of doubt would whisper, is this too good to be true? There was something almost surreal about it all, the ease, the connection, the fact that a global superstar was chatting with her like she was the only person in the world. But each new message from Brad was like a balm, soothing her doubts and pulling her deeper into the fantasy. The line between reality and this strange new connection blurred, and with every ping, she found herself wondering, what if this is the beginning of something more, The weeks slipped by, blending into one another as their connection grew deeper and more intense. It was almost as if time itself had bent to accommodate this unexpected whirlwind of affection and excitement. Brad was everything she imagined and more, funny, caring, thoughtful. His messages were like little love notes sent directly to her soul, timed perfectly to brighten her day. He seemed to know exactly what to say, every word dripping with charm and sincerity, like a scene out of one of his rom-coms. By now, she had convinced herself, this was real. She was the one, the woman Brad Pitt had been searching for all his life. Forget the tabloids and celebrity gossip. He hadn't found happiness with anyone else because he had been waiting for her. In between his work on movie sets and jet-setting around the world, he found time to send her sweet messages late at night, the kind that made her heart flutter. He'd tell her about his glamorous life, dropping little hints about the premieres, the parties, and the people he rubbed shoulders with. But what really made her fall for him were the stories he shared about how lonely it all felt, how meaningless fame was without someone special to share it with. And then, it happened. He began to talk about the future, their future. Casual mentions at first, things like, "One day, we should meet in person or maybe you could visit me on set." But soon, it became more detailed. "I think you'd love my place in LA," he wrote one evening. "You'd fit right in. I can already picture us walking the red carpet together." She couldn't believe it. On the red carpet with Brad Pitt? It was beyond her wildest dreams. There was only one small problem. Despite their growing closeness, they never seemed to move beyond text messages. Every time she suggested a video call, there was always a reason it couldn't happen. At first, it was understandable. "Bad Wi-Fi on set or I'm traveling, so my connection is terrible," he'd say. But then came the excuses about his phone's camera malfunctioning. It became a running theme. "I swear, I'd love to FaceTime, but my camera's acting up again." It was strange, yes. But she didn't want to seem pushy or paranoid. After all, technology glitches happen, right? Even for Hollywood stars. And who was she to question Brad Pitt? Maybe he wasn't used to video calls, or maybe he was just shy about that part of his life, keeping his personal space separate. She rationalized it, brushing aside the nagging feeling in the back of her mind. She even joked with friends, laughing about how even A-listers like Brad Pitt weren't immune to tech issues. They laughed along, though some raised an eyebrow or two, hinting that maybe things weren't adding up. But she refused to let their doubts seep into her mind. This was her fairy tale, and she wasn't going to let something as trivial as a faulty camera ruin it. So, she continued on, her life consumed by this secret relationship with one of the most famous men on the planet. Each new message felt like proof that she was special, that she was the one he had chosen out of the billions of people in the world. How could she doubt it when every word from him was so perfect, so full of warmth and affection? But even as her heart soared with each new message, that tiny voice in the back of her mind began to grow louder. Why won't he call? Why is it always just texts? Isn't this a little too perfect? The fantasy was so beautiful, though so intoxicating, that she wasn't ready to face the possibility that it might all be built on something fragile, something that could shatter with just one look beyond the screen. Things took an unexpected turn when Brad began to share little complaints about his life. It started off subtly, as though he was simply confiding in her the way two close friends, or lovers, would. He mentioned how life wasn't as glamorous as people thought, how the pressure of fame weighed heavily on him. "People don't understand what it's like up here," he wrote one night, the tone of his messages suddenly more somber. "Everyone thinks being a star means having it all, but it's lonely and tough." At first, she thought it was just the natural stress of his high-profile career, the kind of thing celebrities must go through all the time. But then he started dropping hints about financial issues. It wasn't anything blatant, nothing like "I'm broke," but more along the lines of, "My money's tied up in some complicated projects right now. Big stuff, high-profile deals, you know? It's frustrating because I can't access it at the moment." She found herself feeling even closer to him as he opened up about these struggles. She never imagined a star like Brad Pitt would have financial problems. But then again, the world of Hollywood was a mysterious place filled with deals and projects the public would never know about. And here he was, trusting with these personal details. It made her feel special, like she was part of his inner circle, someone he could lean on when times got tough. But then came the moment she hadn't seen coming. One evening, his messages took a more serious turn. "Listen, I hate to ask this. I really do," he began, and her heart skipped a beat. But I'm in a bit of a bind right now. It's embarrassing, and I wouldn't be asking if I had any other option, but could you help me out? Just a loan, something small to get me through this rough patch. I'll pay you back as soon as I can, babe, I swear. Her heart raced as she read the message. Asterisk Brad Pitt is asking me for money. Asterisk it felt surreal, almost like a plot twist she hadn't expected. Part of her hesitated. She had heard stories, warning signs about online scams, the way people prey on the emotions of others. But this was asterisk Brad Pitt star. They had been talking for weeks. They had plans for the future. He wasn't some random guy on the internet, he was her beloved superstar, the man who had opened up to her about his life, his struggles, his dreams. She stared at the message, chewing her lip. On one hand, it seemed strange. Why would someone as rich and famous as asterisk Brad Pitt asterisk need a loan from her? But on the other hand, hadn't he just explained it? His money was tied up in secretive projects, big deals that couldn't be discussed publicly. And besides, he hadn't asked for much. Just a little help, a temporary fix until things sorted themselves out. It wasn't like he was begging or anything. He was proud, even reluctant to ask. That was how she knew it was real, because he didn't want to involve her but had no other choice. I'll pay you back as soon as I can, babe. You know I would never put you in a tough spot. She couldn't resist. This was asterisk Brad Pitt asterisk, after all. He had made her feel special, like she was the only one who truly understood him. She wanted to help, to be there for him when no one else could be. So, with a deep breath and a racing heart, she transferred the money, telling herself it was a small price to pay for love. Besides, it wasn't about the money, it was about trust, about showing that she was willing to support him, just as he had supported her emotionally all these weeks. But as she hit send, a small pit formed in her stomach. Something didn't feel right. Asterisk was it too late to turn back? Asterisk the ping of her phone brought her back, and there was his message, full of gratitude and relief. You're amazing, babe. I owe you big time. Can't wait to see you soon. The words were comforting, but that pit in her stomach wouldn't go away. Once she made the first transfer, the floodgates opened. At first, it was just another few $100s. Just a bit more, babe. I'm almost out of this jam, he'd say, and she'd find herself agreeing, transferring the money without much hesitation. After all, this was asterisk Brad Pitt asterisk, the man she was going to be with forever. But then the requests became larger, more frequent. A few hundred turned into a few thousand. He needed help with asterisk something big asterisk, a secret project that required additional funding. It's tied up in red tape, he'd tell her, his messages laced with frustration. I can't let the media get wind of this. You know how it is in Hollywood. If anyone finds out, it'll be a PR nightmare. And she believed him. She was in love, and she had convinced herself that they were on the verge of something incredible. Asterisk once this is over asterisk, she thought, asterisk will finally be together at asterisk. When she told her friends about the secret relationship, they didn't react the way she'd hoped. Brad Pitt? Really? They'd ask, raising eyebrows. Why would someone like him need asterisk your asterisk money? He's a millionaire. Their skepticism stung, but she brushed it off. They didn't understand the connection she had with him. She knew the truth, they weren't just looking at Brad Pitt, the actor. She was seeing asterisk him asterisk, the real man behind the fame, and she was the only one who could help him through this tough time. Every time the doubts crept into her mind, he seemed to sense it, sending sweet messages that eased her concerns. You're the only person I trust, babe, he'd say. I can't wait to see you. I swear, once this is all sorted, I'll make it up to you. It was always about the future, the life they were going to build together. She clung to that hope, each new transfer feeling like a small sacrifice on the way to their perfect life. But the excuses kept coming, piling up faster than she could keep track of. First, the project needed more funding. Then his private jet was grounded due to mechanical issues, something about unpaid fees that only asterisk she asterisk could help him with. It's just temporary, I promise, he'd reassure her. This is the last time. You're saving me here. Yet somehow, it was asterisk never asterisk the last time. With each new request, her bank account shrank. The numbers started to scare her, but her heart was still full of hope. Asterisk once this is all over, we'll be together asterisk, she reminded herself, ignoring the nagging voice of reason that had grown louder over the weeks. There was always another reason the video calls couldn't happen: his phone was broken again, or the connection was bad, or he was in a private location where he couldn't be seen. But the messages kept coming, full of love and gratitude, and each one was enough to keep her going. Her friends were growing more concerned, their questions more pointed. "Are you sure this is real?" they'd ask. "Why won't he call you? Why does he keep asking for money?" But she defended him. He was a celebrity, for God's sake, things worked differently in his world. She couldn't let her friends' doubts ruin the most magical thing that had ever happened to her. How could they understand what it was like to have someone like him care about you, choose you? But as the weeks dragged on and her bank account bled dry, the cracks in her perfect fantasy started to show. Each time he asked for more money, that little pit in her stomach grew deeper, heavier. She was running out of savings, but she told herself it was worth it. She couldn't bear the thought of letting him down, letting their future slip away. Still, there was no end in sight. No video calls, no visits, just more requests and promises of a life together that always seemed just out of reach. Reality was closing in, but her heart was still holding on to the dream of Brad Pitt, the man she had fallen for, even if he existed only in the glow of her phone screen. The moment of truth came on a crisp Thursday morning, the day she had been dreading but somehow never fully prepared for. She had sent one final message to Brad, a hopeful yet desperate plea. "I love you. Please, call me. Please let me know you're okay." She waited, staring at her phone, as the minutes stretched into hours. The red notification dot never appeared. No new messages. Panic began to rise in her chest like a tidal wave, gnawing at her insides. She checked the message again, as if the screen would magically change, as if Brad would suddenly come through with an explanation, a reason for his silence. But there was nothing. The hours turned to days, and still, nothing. No text. No apology. No sweet promises. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. The phone, once a portal to her dreams, now felt like a cruel reminder of the emptiness she was beginning to face. Where was he? Why wasn't he responding? Her fingers hovered over the screen, unsure of what to do next. She had sent messages, called, even tried to contact him through other means, but all in vain. She felt sick, physically, emotionally, mentally, as the realization began to creep into her mind. What if this wasn't real? What if this wasn't Brad Pitt at all? It didn't take long for the truth to surface, the truth she had known deep down but had been unwilling to admit. Her heart sank as she started piecing together the breadcrumbs she had ignored for weeks, the repeated excuses for video calls, the vague details about his projects, the overwhelming sense that nothing quite added up. She searched for answers, real answers. She typed his name into search engines, scoured celebrity forums, checked his verified social media accounts, but there was no trace of their conversations. There was no Brad Pitt, no record of him ever reaching out to her in any official capacity. Her fingers shook as she scrolled through the results, the panic shifting to horror. It all came crashing down. The man she thought she had been falling for? He never existed. Instead, she had been talking to a smooth-talking scammer who had carefully crafted a persona around her wildest fantasies. This person had used her admiration for a Hollywood icon as bait to lure her in and slowly bleed her dry. The money she had sent, the thousands of dollars, hadn't gone to some movie project or personal crisis. It had vanished into the pockets of someone who had studied her, who had played her like a violin. He had known exactly what to say, what to offer her, how to weave a story so believable that even the warning signs were drowned out by her desire to be loved by the man she thought was Brad Pitt. She sat in silence, her body frozen in shock as the weight of her loss hit her all at once. Not just her savings, but her heart. She had fallen for a lie, and it had cost her everything. Heartbroken and broke, she tried to understand how she had let it go this far. How had she not seen the red flags? She thought of the long nights spent texting, the sweet nothings, the promises of a future together. All of it was a carefully constructed illusion. She was left with nothing but an empty phone screen and the echoes of her own disappointment. The fantasy she had held on to so tightly was over. As the harsh reality set in, she realized the cruel truth: she had fallen in love with a ghost. Not Brad Pitt, not even a real person, but a carefully crafted mirage designed to prey on her vulnerabilities. She closed her eyes, feeling the weight of it all. It wasn't just the money. It wasn't even the loneliness she now faced. It was the feeling of being duped, of having been part of someone's game, a pawn in a con that had no other purpose than to exploit her emotions. The dream was shattered. And now, she was left to pick up the pieces of a life that had seemed so full of promise, only to realize it had been built on nothing more than a lie. In the aftermath, the weight of the betrayal lingered like a heavy fog, but it wasn't long before a sense of clarity began to cut through it. She realized she wasn't alone in her heartbreak. Others had fallen victim to similar scams, but unlike them, she had the chance to use her experience to warn others. She took a deep breath, sat down with her phone, and began to type, an open letter of sorts, a confession to the world. "I was scammed," she wrote, her fingers trembling slightly. "I thought I was talking to Brad Pitt. I thought I had found my soulmate. But I was wrong. And I want to share my story so this doesn't happen to anyone else." At first, the idea of going public made her stomach churn with embarrassment. She had been so sure of herself, so convinced that she had found something real. How could she admit to the world that she had been so easily fooled? But as she drafted the post, a realization struck her: this wasn't just about her. It wasn't about her pride or her shame. It was about helping others avoid the same heartache, the same financial devastation. After all, if she could fall for it, anyone could. She posted the message on her social media accounts, sharing her painful experience for all to see. The response was overwhelming. There were messages of sympathy and support, as well as an outpouring of shared experiences. Women, and a few men, reached out, telling her they, too, had been lured into scams, some involving fake celebrities, others posing as potential partners, all with the same goal: to steal money and leave their victims broken. Some of the comments were kind, others more critical. "You should have known better," one person commented, while another said, "I can't believe you fell for this." But she didn't take offense. She had spent days questioning her own judgment, too. How could I have been so stupid? But now, with the support of others who had been through the same thing, she knew she wasn't the only one who had been deceived. And that, in itself, was strangely comforting. In the weeks that followed, she began to speak out more, posting warnings about the signs of online scams, encouraging people to be skeptical when something seems too good to be true. She shared the lessons she had learned the hard way: trust your instincts, verify the facts, and never, ever send money to someone you've only known online. Despite the flood of supportive messages, there was still a lingering bitterness in her heart. No, she hadn't gotten her money back, and yes, she felt utterly embarrassed for having been so gullible. But the most valuable thing she gained from this experience was something no amount of money could buy: a hard-earned lesson in the power of the internet, the dangers of online relationships, and the importance of protecting yourself from manipulation. And maybe that was the ultimate truth: sometimes, the person on the other side of the screen isn't who they say they are. No matter how convincing the story may be, no matter how many sweet nothings are whispered into your ear, the person who claims to love you might not even exist. And while the heartbreak would always sting, she now had the strength to move forward, to rebuild her life, and to share her story with the world. Though she never got the money back, she realized that there was something far more valuable in the lesson: trust, caution, and a new sense of awareness that would stay with her forever. The hardest part was over. She had faced the truth. Now, she could only move forward, wiser, stronger, and more vigilant than ever before.